All right. I didn't hear any dings or anything that said that we weren't live, so we should be live on Facebook, YouTube, and on TikTok. So, welcome everybody to season 6 of the Hypnosis Hero podcast. If you don't know already, my name is Shawn Kostiuk. I am one of the hosts. I'm going to bring my other host on here right shortly, and it's going to happen right now. Just like that. And then there's a Shawn and a Brian, which for me is normal because I have a brother named Brian.
Thank God I have pants on. So yeah, we are live on. I can see YouTube and I can see us on Facebook on the Hypnosis Hero podcast channel.
All right. Mark's making me hungry. He's telling us that he was told there was going to be snacks. And of course, Michael Brody is right there, right alongside, saying yum yum.
I was listening to Michael Brody's podcast just right before this, as I was getting ready, and there's definitely some news going about. Dare I say, some fuckery is afoot, but more to follow on that. We're not going to steal anybody else's thunder, but Shawn, today's a sad day, man.
I saw the news just before I hopped on here.
Yeah. The passing of the late great Dolly Parton, wonderful human being. She had a fantastic pair of personalities and was just a lovely person to everybody in the music industry. So, our hearts definitely go out to the family and all the fans and loved ones and everything. And she is absolutely going to be sorely missed. There's not going to be another one like her.
No, and I the one thing that when I saw the news that I went back and you kind of relive some memories and times. Well, I remember when I saw her there and there and there. She was definitely all over the place in terms of in the media and so on and so forth. But I don't ever recall her having a breakdown or anything like that. She was 100% class act all the way through.
Yeah, I was actually looking at Eminem, of all people, posted a note that she had dropped to him after he had gotten accepted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, ironically for rap music, but I digress. She basically was like, I don't know a whole lot about rap music, but you do great work, all the best of success, and I hope we get to meet, or I hope I get to meet you someday. And somebody posted in the comments, it was like, that's Dolly's version of like, Dear Slim, I've been writing to you all these letters, but you ain't been answering. But I mean, just and in that letter, in the note, she was like, I hope to meet you at the award show, but how crazy these things are, and like, I hate these big pomp and circumstance, but she was actually just such a down to earth person.
Yeah, and when you look at that in today's day and age, you might think, oh my gosh, like that's almost the behavior of a relic. And really, it should be the behavior of everybody. When you think about it, if people would treat others with a little bit of class and a little bit of respect, I think the world would be a much different place.
Yeah, and when you get pride and jealousy and stuff like that just get wrapped up in everything, it's just it's really sad.
Yeah,
it's a waste, and I would like to think that we would all like everybody in their own right to be successful and prosperous, but there's definitely evil in this world, and you want good people to succeed for the right reasons, and you want evil to be defeated, and certainly not to segue evil into our guest, but I was hoping to kind of go Eminem, Detroit, a Michigan guy. Oh, there's a conference coming up. We should probably introduce our guest.
Yes, we should. But thoughts on 6 seasons now, or 5 seasons complete and the sixth one underway?
Oh God, you almost went 6-7 there for a second. I heard it.
No, because if I go 6-7, my nieces are gonna give me the proverbial eye roll. It's like, oh,
Right.
on.
And I think it's either the Ontario Hockey League or the QMJHL, whatever Ottawa is playing in. Their major junior teams are going to come out with like copyright infringement and all that stuff. So, but yeah, we got a pretty cool guy. I think some people might actually even recognize him. So without further ado, you've got an intro.
We even have Attila in the chat. Good to see you, sir.
Oh, we're looking forward to seeing him too.
Yep.
Soon.
We got lots to talk about. So yes, we should get on and introduce our guest here, and it's going to bring up the notes that I have for him. And every time we do bios and we work things through, you get a little bit of an understanding of just how many people have taken that next step and contributed something back to the profession, and I can say that's absolutely 100% true of our guest tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight, our guest hero has spent more than 15 years helping advance the practice, education, and professional community surrounding hypnosis and hypnotherapy. He's been a medical clinical hypnotherapist since 2011 and brings a particularly distinctive perspective, say that 3 times really fast, to his work through more than 30 years of experience in the emergency medical services field. His clinical work has included a strong focus on first responders, frontline professionals dealing with PTSD, anxiety, stress, and other challenges associated with high-pressure environments. Beyond the therapy room, our guest has become a significant connector within the international hypnosis community. He's co-founded the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference, an event that is coming up very, very quickly, and is created to bring hypnotists, hypnotherapists, educators, researchers, and performers together to exchange ideas and advance the profession. He's also the founder and CEO of the North American Hypnotherapy Guild, where his work focuses on professional standards, continuing education, collaboration, ethics, and building a stronger professional community. His industry leadership also extends to the North American Hypnosis Conference Alliance and conference collaboration initiatives designed to strengthen the communication and cooperation amongst the conferences and organizations. He's equally active behind the microphone and in the hypnosis media. He is the founder of the Hypnosis Today magazine and hosts 2 podcasts, The Monday Report, which follows people, conferences, research, and education on the developments that shape the hypnosis profession, and The Traveling Hypnotist, which also is a publication you can purchase, I believe, on that site of, Amazon. We won't say that too loudly or TikTok's going to boot me off.
The rainforest online retailer.
Yeah, exactly. Our guest is an international speaker and advocate for evidence-informed hypnotherapy, and was also presented with the Tom Silver Award of Excellence at the 2025 Canada Hypnosis Conference for his generosity, integrity, and contributions to the field. And so, with that in mind, welcome our very first guest of season 6, the Hypnosis Hero. Welcome, Dan Goyette.
So, hey guys,
Becca joined just in time.
Yeah,
she had to see you in the dinosaur.
Hey, so, back up off Frank. All right, yeah. Frank's my man. He is my cohort. Right. So, on paper, I'm really cool. So I'm just going to say that right now.
I was at the new teacher orientation today and realizing myself, I got a lot of skills. This is really great. And I'm looking at these kids and I'm thinking, whatever I'm going to say, they're not going to understand the reference to it anyway. So it's, I like you, Dan. I'm really cool on paper.
Yeah, like on paper, I'm awesome. So
we've got to work we've got to work into your introduction. By the power of the magic serape, here's
yeah. I got my decaf coffee in here, so in my don't bother to hold your applause red cup, which is the most. Oh, hey, I just spilled a little bit, but that's okay. Got this at the M&M store, and this is the most important thing to me when traveling to the Performing Hypnosis Summit is that I hit the M&M store. So I'm just gonna shameless plug right there for the summit.
I was about you beat me to it. I was about to have the fallback and go, tell us where the M&M store is and what event you were at before you had to rush home because of the weather.
So we won't be rushing home this year though.
And decaf coffee.
We are driving out.
Decaf coffee. There's a sergeant major and like the whole NCO corps in the Army that is just rolling over in graves and thinking that's sacrilegious.
I you know what? I've reached the age now where if I'm not on a truck, I'm not drinking leaded at night because I'm not going to go to sleep. When you're in your 20s, you can drink coffee all night long and you can just go to sleep. But I'm there now. I'm there, and right. I know this because I go to the gym 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and every year gets a little harder. It's just like, okay, what happened there? I don't know. But
so it's official,
harder.
Dan. Frank is Becca approved.
Excellent. So, but yeah, there is I should tell the story of Frank. Frank here. So Frank was given to me by someone I knew, a young lady, because I have short arms, and everyone has always picked on my little, what they call T-Rex arms. So I get a lot of T-Rex stuff. And this was given to me as a reminder, kind of as a hey, I want to embarrass you kind of thing. So because of that, but me being me, I'm not going to lose. So I took Frank and I made him the unofficial mascot of the Monday Report. And he is now an integral part of my marketing for the magazine. Also, he is now writing his own articles in the magazine, the Traveling T-Rex Tips. So be looking for those. So
we've got a great suggestion in the suggestion box.
Okay.
Of doing your introduction in the Morgan Freeman voice. If we can talk to Scott King and AI clone that might be something in the works.
Oh no! Hold on. There it was, just one simple man with his lone small dinosaur, turning what could be a negative into a positive, creating all manner of joy within his own heart and life. You see, the thing that Dan enjoyed most was taking positive and making it into a negative. So you don't ask a voice actor to do Morgan Freeman. That is the first thing you don't do, because you will get Morgan Freeman.
And Mark, you asked, so we're going to deliver.
Unless it has pineapple.
There you go.
Yeah, that actually is sacrilege.
Yeah, there's no pineapple. Pineapple is, but yeah, I will say here in Michigan, it is Baja weather. I broke the Bajas. It is official, guys. The Bajas are back. So I am a happy man. I'm a happy camper. But because if anyone knows me, they know that from September all the way through to the very coming of spring is Baja season for me because they're comfortable. They're my thing, man. I wear them all. I don't wear them at the conference anymore. I'm not allowed. I have to wear a shirt and a tie and look professional. So does the Heather.
Are your Bajas not OSHA approved?
I think they're OSHA approved. I think they're not NFPA approved. I know that, but I don't have to worry about that anymore. I retired from active firefighting at 52, 53. I could still pass the pulmonary test.
Yep. Dan's breaking up.
Am I?
Yep,
I stopped.
All right. Well,
yeah, you're frozen on Facebook.
Yeah, it says it's an unstable connection here. So. That's okay.
That's the internet going, oh, Morgan Freeman. This is. And we're demonetized.
All right. Yeah.
But now it looks like you're back.
Okay. There we go. So, but yes, I could still pass the pulmonary test to wear an SCBA, but they told me that no. They kicked me out.
So speaking of all things Michigan, you've got a pretty cool conference that's coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah. Yes, it is coming up September 11th through the 13th. This is year number 5 for us. And I didn't think we would make it through year number 1.
Okay.
And for those watching, I don't know if you know the story, is that the conference actually wasn't my idea. It was Heather. I had come back from the UK Hypnosis conference, and I had scrambled to get out there one year, and I literally I found the money to go. I literally had to scrimp the money to go because I got invited. So I went. And I was only out there 3 days. It was really quick there and back. So when I got back in I think it was like 2018 that I went. It was that year, 2019 actually. Then. Yeah, it's like 2019 because I went to Hypnotists in 2019 during the COVID time because I remember wearing the face shield doing the presentation. And she said to me, listen, you're going everywhere and you seem to be making people money. And at first I thought, well, just because I'm at a conference, Heather, doesn't mean they're making money. So let's be honest about that. Yeah. But she said, well, why don't we have a conference here in Michigan? And I thought she meant that in the aggregate. And I said, well, I don't know. I said, I know there used to be one. It was the dental conference, and it was in February. But if anybody knows anything about Michigan, if you're in Michigan in February, you either are in love with snowmobiling or you've lost a bet. So it's just not a good place to be. So, but she said, no, you don't understand. Why don't we have a conference? So I said, oh, you want to do a conference? So
see, the correct answer
we started.
To that. The correct answer to that, Dan, was, "What's this? You got a mouse in your pocket?" And then you let her come out and
she
say,
she does a lot of work.
Yeah,
you guys be surprised how much she's got to keep me on track. And I remember setting up that first conference. I remember setting it up. And I thought to myself, what do I want to do with this conference? Well, I wanted to make it as presenter friendly as possible. Because we've all gone to conferences and we've all been there. It's like, oh, there's no projectors. Or, well, you got to make do with this or make do with that. And in my mind, I thought, if I make it as good as I can for the presenter, it will be good for the attendee because they'll get a better experience. If we have the projectors, if we have the screens, if we have the equipment, if we have all the things that the whiteboards set up and the rooms are there, it will be good. And I didn't want just another conference. One of the other things I started doing was I looked around Michigan, and we used to have a plethora of clinical hypnotherapists here in Michigan. And at that time, when I started to look, there were so many doors that had closed, so many offices that closed, so many websites that weren't working anymore, so many people on Facebook whose last post for hypnotherapy or hypnosis was 2013, and their numbers were turned off. And so I said to myself, let's make a conference so that people know. And I will say this. I think at the time, a lot of people just didn't know where to go. They didn't have a mentor. They didn't have advice. They couldn't figure out where to go to further their practice or their career. And because just wasn't a thing for them, apparently. So that was one of the other driving forces behind the conference, was to bring Michigan back as a powerhouse, if you will, for hypnosis and hypnotherapy, if that makes any sense. I was rambling. Why didn't you stop me, Shawn?
because what you were rambling was I think very important. You don't just go out and start a conference. You know,
you have
you have to have a good reason and a good foundation. And everything that you said was, I looked around, things were in disarray. And if I know Dan like I know Dan, when things are in disarray, that's not good. that tends to send Dan off on a mission. And so the mission is of course what is now the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference.
Yes. Which I will say that, and Amanda, hi Amanda. I think it was Amanda that suggested the international part, because at the time, the very first conference, and I know Grant will know this, because he came there the first time. I wanted a good name. I wanted a name that I thought people could remember and that they would associate it with, and it would be pithy and easy and it would stick in the mind. So I called it My Hypnosis Conference. My Hypnosis Conference. MI Hypnosis Conference. And no one got it. Everybody's like, so it's so if just your conference, you're the only one that's there. Yeah, it was the worst name in the world for a conference. So
and then you're like, oh shit, I already bought the domain, I need to make this work.
and I did too. I bought it. Well, I wound up getting another domain, and it was the late great Jim Kellner and I had a conversation about it, and he goes, man, just go with Michigan Hypnosis Conference. And I said, well, but then you're going to have that MI still in it. And Amanda said, well, I think it should be international because we have all these people coming from all over the place. And I said, yeah, then I can keep the MI.
Canada's just across the bridge or across the river.
Yeah, we have people from Canada and England and Ireland, and we've had people from Australia. And the very first conference we had people from the Netherlands and Canada and England and just everywhere coming in. So, and they were on their way to, I think, another conference at the time, but they used that very first Michigan conference as a pit stop, a reason to take part of their trip off their taxes so they can take the rest of the trip off their taxes. But we were happy with it. So it was good. So kudos to Amanda. So I know everybody's used to seeing my bright shining face on the videos and doing stuff, but we've got a pretty good team behind us, I think. And that's important.
The thought, or the part that I thought was where I think you kind of nailed things right on the head as far as planning is you first kind of put an outline in your head of like, all right, what needs to happen? How can I make this work for everybody? And it was sort of like if you build it, they will come. Make it good for the presenters. So good presenters want to show up. Good presenters bring good audience, and good audience is profitable, or good for business. And I've heard good things about the conference, but kind of walk me through how you decided to kind of make it a hybrid, in meaning catering towards the hypnotherapy and the performing sides.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, we initially, I will say this. I did not set it up with the idea of profit. That was not my goal.
Right.
I to this day it is not, I am not, as Tommy Gerlando and I always jokes, like, being a hypnotist, I got to move all these big bags of money around. I'm
Right.
tripping over them. But did not set it up with the idea to have big bags of money coming in. Set up the idea, the mission statement really was learn, share, grow. And that is, I know it's a little bit, oh, give me a break coming from me because I'm big. But, I think that if we come together as a profession to a conference, to an event, and we're able to learn from each other, share our stories, we help each other grow as practitioners and entrepreneurs. And that is the driving force behind the conference. It is not to make me money. I will say that right now. We started moving towards.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say,
integration
wasn't necessarily like, okay, go make big bags of money, but if you're able to obviously cover your cost and make a little bit extra, it's like you roll that into the following year's conference. How can I make? And that's kind of what we're trying to do it with Performing Hypnosis Summit is, we got this little nest egg, and then how do we add a little bit more to it, and then make it a little bit better, and little changes add up over time.
Yeah, well, we used our nest egg for 26, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. But the integration of hypnosis and performing is the very first one was clinical, because that's what I really knew. So that first conference was really, really clinical. And Jim came, and Michael Brody was there, and Grant was there, and these guys, stage hypnotists, street hypnotists, and Michael was a street hypnosis and stage hypnosis, and kind of started talking to me. And I thought, well, I'm theater, and I got talked into doing stage hypnosis shows. I did them for, I think, 2014 all the way until the pandemic. 2019, I think, was 2019 was my last official show. I have done one or two benefit shows. I'm not coming out of retirement. Nobody get excited.
So. You're not coming out of retirement. This is crap. I'm going home.
But I knew that being a stage, having done that, having that experience on the stage as a stage hypnotist, upped my skill level as a clinician. And I can give you an example of that is that when I'm working with a client, and I've had this happen maybe twice in my career, and was that they started to come out of a state of hypnosis. Something happened. They didn't like the suggestion I gave them. They were starting to have a little issue. Instead of going back into a big, long drawn out secondary induction and another secondary deepener, I just reached over and gave them a little arm jerk, and I was just, you feel your arm loosening up and feeling better and better and better and lighter, and sleep. And then that was it. So, and I told that to a therapist, one of the therapists that I work with or had worked with, and like, you didn't do a secondary induction, you just, and now I know that you're coming out and you can relax and you can breathe and you can visualize it. You're 5 minutes, you're taking another 5 minutes to do this secondary induction as opposed to 30 seconds of an arm jerk, and they're right back down. So,
and that therapist looked at you like you reinvented fire all over again.
A little bit, but stage hypnosis in itself is hypnosis. It's faster, it's more aggressive. And when I say aggressive, I mean that you have minutes. You walk out on stage, you've got minutes to get the audience to like you, trust you, and gain the rapport and get them up there and get your induction going. Whereas in an office, you've got 30 minutes of consultation. You can tell jokes. You can get them comfortable. You can do some susceptibility tests. You can go to a general session. So you've got an hour or so, as opposed to, okay, here I go, 7 minutes. I got to have people on the stage like me and in hypnosis. Boom. So that's a more aggressive thing. So when we integrated that into the conference, I wanted that there because stage hypnosis just makes you a better therapist. Long way around to say that, but I did. But okay. Sorry.
Well, it kind of, I think with the street and stage, it kind of forces you to have that think on the fly, improv, make things up as you go, and kind of have a few things in your back pocket, if you will, to where, you know, if something doesn't go as planned, where it's like, all right, we're 5 minutes in, patient is, or client is, you know, in trance, we're doing the suggestibility and, you know, doing the work, if you will. And then all of a sudden they come out of it and you're going, oh, ruh-roh, this is bad, and panicking. It's kind of like, yeah, all right, cool. And client doesn't know the difference that anything really even happened.
Yeah. Well,
either that or to them,
and
you were just
the client,
a wizard.
Yeah. Or it shakes your confidence if you're beginning and you're just starting out. You've just got your certification as a clinical hypnotherapist. You're in your office. You're online, however you're doing it, and your client all of a sudden opens their eyes. Oh man, you're a bad hypnotist. You're a bad hypnotherapist. You can't get them into a state of hypnosis. You fail. So that will shake your confidence. And also, if you're up on stage and you've got those milliminutes, kind of gives you the ability to quickly read people, because you've got to look out, scan your audience, see who's where, and kind of estimate who's going to be a good volunteer. I used to cheat a little bit because I had music going and pyrotechnics and all kinds of lights, and it's a really loud show, and I would always yell out, "Where's my fun table?" And I would wait for the tables that would yell the loudest. I'm like, right there, those are my extroverts. Those are the ones I want.
Well, those are your extroverts, or those are the drunk ones. I mean, that's the other option.
Yeah. So, but
well, you did bring up a good point. I remember my first hypnotherapy experience, or my first experience with hypnosis altogether, was absolutely horrible. And I'm not going to name the hypnotherapist. I don't want to say that she.
Listen, I did my best.
I don't want to say that she did anything wrong per se. We chatted for a little bit, and she took some notes, and here's what we want to work on. But for somebody like me with sort of a ADD, here, just give me, I'm not too far out of the military, just give me instructions on what to do. And she was like putting herself in trance and, rolling her head around and everything. Yeah, and I'm doing my best. And I finally just am like laying on the couch, counting holes in the ceiling going, I'm just really bored. Now I'm getting really pissed because I'm just watching the last of my money fly away. And I'm like, I'm getting nothing out of this. There's no relief. There's no anything. And finally, I was like, yeah, I'm done. No, thank you. But she was off in her own world and she wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, you've got to pay attention to it. And you said a really interesting thing there. I worked with military, police officers, firefighters. Give me instructions. And that's the analytical thing. This is the very one reason, and I have written articles on this, and I'm going to go into it, and you already know what I'm talking about, Shawn. That is the very reason I love the 10 count. That has so much foundation. physically, neurologically, psychologically, emotionally. It is. A lot of people want to shy away from the 10 count because they think, well, it's old hat, or I've seen it in movies. If you do it correctly, it's a level. I'm taking you through levels. Here's level 1 to level 2 to level 3. Here's the next thing you're going to do. Here's and then you're going to be here. You've gone through all these levels, and they respond really well to that. They respond extremely well to the 10 count because it is giving them what they want. They want an instruction. This is how you get into a state of hypnosis. And I don't use the 10 count on every client. And I don't say, as I count from 1 down to 10, as I count through the levels, as we go through the levels into a state of hypnosis or relaxation, here's what you're going to find. So 1, you're doing this. 2, you're da-da-da-da-da, so on and so forth. They have actually done.
Well, on that note, like, for example, she was telling me, like, imagine a place that's just peaceful and relaxing. And I'm like, I can have peace and be relaxed in the ocean surfing. I can be snowboarding. I can be river rafting, skydiving, all of these things. And then she's like, pick one. And of course, I'm sitting there going, well, what do I really want to do? And I'm kind of thinking about, and I'm just ignoring everything else. And then it's like, now imagine a feeling that you like. And what's a color? Imagine you see your favorite color. And I'm going, I don't even know what my favorite color is. And so there was just getting more and more frustrated with it.
No. I don't tend to give the client, and here's the thing with the choice. You have one choice, you have another choice, you have 2 choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. You give somebody a third choice, you are now into the problem of what if I pick the wrong one? Do I want this one? Do I want which one do I replace? If you're going to give them a third option, you've got to ask, which one do you want me to take away? So now you're back down to 2.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't have a double blind if there's something else there.
Yeah. You absolutely. So never have 3 or 4 choices, because you made your work so much harder.
Well, I mean, it's like going to the dentist. I don't do, like Brent Arnold says, I don't do my own dental work. I have somebody else do it. But when you go into the dentist, they're like, come right back, have a seat, put your stuff over there. And, they might ask you a yes or no question. And all right, they're giving you instruction. I want you to do this, open more, turn your head this way. They're not asking you how you want them to clean your teeth or fill your cavity or, surgery or whatever they're doing. When you're in a, I don't want to say medical care for hypnotherapy, but there's a mental health aspect to it. You're relying on somebody to lead, and you can be the most alpha dog CEO, but when you're going to them saying, I need help, I'm going to follow your direction, lead. You're the provider and the practitioner.
One of the things that people would often do is they would come into the office and they would sit in the chair. They would put the chair back and recline. Then they would cross their feet. And I would tell them, like, don't cross your feet. And I would give them a rationale for this. Because I said, if you cross your feet, you're going to go into hypnosis. Your muscles are going to relax. Your feet are going to get tingly. And then you're going to try and get up and walk away. And you're going to have pins and needles. You're going to look at me and you're not going to be happy.
You're going to be very angry at me.
Yeah. So they're already expecting that their muscles are going to relax and they're going to feel that. Right. So I've already given them that suggestion. Your muscles are going to relax. Now, I will honestly tell you, I don't know if the pins and needles are going to happen, but I would use that as a way to say, hey, you're going to feel this relaxation come over your body. And if your feet are crossed, it's going to, da-da-da-da-da-da. And they would uncross their feet. So I've already given them instruction.
Yeah.
I'm going back to, I'm laughing because I'm going back to Shawn's introduction, the integrity and the professionalism. And then Dan's going, yeah, I just make shit up when I tell people. But Uh,
Um,
but I mean, sometimes you do just have to get that compliance out there and just be like, all right, I
That's
don't want to get into a
exactly what I
debate
was
and
going to
argue.
say. It's a compliance thing, right? And it's no different than if you were doing street hypnosis, right? Take a step
Right.
forward, spread your legs out so that you've got good balance. You're judging them for, okay, did they actually take a step forward? Are they listening to me? Are they complying with what I want? Because if you don't get those two things right off the bat, anything else that you do is likely not going to work.
It's an operational thing and a compliance thing because,
Yeah.
last thing you want to do is be picking up somebody off the ground with going, whoops, I'm terribly sorry about that.
Yeah. I want to circle back to what Mark Barra said here. It says the best
Yeah.
hypnosis sessions I've had have been with hypnotists that have stage experience. And yeah, it's not that it's a tip or a trick or anything like that. It's an actual, it's an actual process improvement, if you will. We just do things that much faster so that we can get to the actual show. But in a client session, absolutely does that. Like I was working with a client here earlier this afternoon, and this is our third or fourth session. So I mean, I can count from 10 to 1 fairly quickly. He knows the way. The brain knows the way down to hypnosis. But if it was a show, I might do that 10 count once, and then after that, anything else that I do would be a reinforcement to allow them to go deeper without having to do it a whole other 1090, because that's another 5 minutes of time, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the very first inductions I was taught, I would use a pen, and I would bring it up. I would have them, they couldn't lift their head. It's the eye fixation. Lift your eyes and keep it on that, and you would get that eye strain. And as that eye strain came, I would be going through the induction. You're relaxing and feeling the eyes are blinking. Okay, yeah, that's it. And when they close their eyes, they got that feeling that the strain was gone. So there's an automatic relaxation in the eyes, which releases serotonin and dopamine, and there's a physiological effect within the body, and they can feel that relaxation, and it becomes the science of eye fixation is unique. Orman McGill was really good at that. He would have his wand and he would put it way up here, and he never alluded to the word magic, but he would have it way up here. And that's just what he was doing, eye fixation. And I went away from the pen, but I still used eye fixation. If someone was in the chair, I would say, okay, now take a deep breath and relax. And what I want you to do right now is just look up at the ceiling with your eyes, find your spot right there on the ceiling, keep your eyes fixed on it. Now, much like Sheldon, that's your spot. So now it made them laugh and it relaxed them, but they're fixing their eyes on that spot. So, yeah. And then I would just say, and take a deep breath and feel your body going much deeper, relaxed. One more breath, feeling that body's just relaxing, every muscle loose, limb relaxed, and breathe in. And as you exhale, close your eyes down naturally, gently, and easily, and just feel them relaxing. And you would just see that person become flaccid in the face, relaxed. We were right there. So I had the physical relaxation at the moment. Now I'm just going to begin with the induction, but through the deepener and into the therapy. And was just a really great thing. And I really only had about 4 or 5 inductions that I would use, in a day of therapy. I'd have 10 or 15 or 20, because I'm going to be honest. If you're doing all these 10, 12, 20 inductions, at some point you're going to get them jumbled up in your head, so it becomes more difficult for you, the practitioner. It's okay to have them. And if you're going to pick 3 that day, I'm going to use this, this, and this. Those are the inductions I'm using today. Out of the many hundreds of inductions I know, I'm using 3 today. So it just simplifies the work.
So when Dan is using a pen and having you look up, and he's getting that eye fixation that's helping people relax. When a cop is holding a pen far to the side, that's horizontal gaze nystagmus, you're in a field sobriety test and you are absolutely farthest from relaxed. One is going to help you, the other is going to prosecute you.
No, I just like when they're over here, it's like, tell me when you can stop seeing the pen. I'm like, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not even focusing on the pen because here's the thing, Bob. I already know that the field sobriety test is junk science. And that's when the police officer becomes angry because I don't drink and drive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go there's you're going to be Ford and Chevy on standard field sobriety tests and their validity, but that's for attorneys to go duke out. But I absolutely agree with you as far as when you're doing, get really, really good at a small handful of inductions. And then it's like when a mechanic gets too many tools, they're just sitting there going, they either get wrapped around which one I'm going to use, or they're going to just realize I've been paying for tools because someone said someday you might need those. And then you really find out that, look, I only use an 8, a 10, and a 12, and a 14 millimeter socket and a couple of extensions, and that's that. Maybe an Ugga Dugga gun, and then you just get really pissed off that you spent all this other money. But when you get really good at stuff, you can just rattle stuff off. I think I was talking to Salish, and he was like, "Dude, I can do my sober grad night inductions in my sleep." He goes, "I could be doing algebra while I'm just speaking into a microphone."
Yeah, I'm an Ericksonian myself, and a little bit of an Elman, and I also like Emile Carew. I always say his name wrong, but I do like those guys because of one, embedded suggestions I think work really, really well. I like direct suggestion, but I also like what Emile used to refer to as auto-suggestion, which is now, of course, what we know as self-hypnosis and moving that. But the wonderful thing about auto-suggestion is when you work with a client like that, Carew sounds like cute. Cute.
I was pretty sure that that's who he was talking about.
Yeah. As Wally would say, coo. But auto-suggestion becomes the part where mind has to be told over and over and over again until it is no longer a suggestion. It is a working mental habit. It is what you do. It becomes part of you. So, and that is the change that we're looking to make. That is the thing. So, and I'm usually very upfront with clients. I will say, so like as these sessions go on, a couple things are going to get better. Are going to happen. One, you're going to get better at this. You're going to go into a state of hypnosis faster and deeper every time you come back. The next thing is you're going to notice these changes. They may be subtle. They may be instant. You may wake up one morning and go, "Hey, I didn't have a cigarette," or, "Oh wow, I'm not angry or depressed or anything." And then I said, when that happens, accept it, because you made it happen. If you challenge it, you can fall back into the very things that you are trying to get away from. So yeah, love auto-suggestion.
Oh, that's definitely good stuff. And it not only does it build your confidence as, I would imagine, as a hypnotherapist, because the first time I hypnotized somebody, I was like, "Oh God, it works." And then you do it again and again and again, and then you're like, "All right, cool. Now I'm really getting, I feel like I'm kind of getting the hang of this." I can only imagine because I'm not a hypnotherapist. I can only imagine that you're like, "All right, now I'm getting more and more confident in my abilities. I can also," but at the same time, the client is building confidence in themselves, going, I can get into trance. I can better my life. I want to come see this person. There's a positive aspect about this.
Yeah. You said, "Oh, hey, wow, hypnosis works," and Shawn's eyes just went straight. I was like, "Yes, of course it works." So why we're here.
I was talking about probably about 3 months or so after I met Jim. So brand new to this whole thing. And it was like, we're going to go take a class and you're going to learn how to do this. All right, cool. And then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, do this, sprinkle the magic dust, have some for yourself. And Viola, here we are. And then you go do it and you're like, yeah, this is, you feel like a god. And so if there's anybody who has an interest in learning hypnosis, like, it's fun.
Yeah, I was just waiting for Shawn to go. The title of the podcast is Hypnosis Heroes.
Well, speaking of heroes, we should talk about, because I am an educator. We should probably talk about some education stuff,
Yes.
and the North American Hypnotherapy Guild, because it was started with a very particular reason. And Dan, you and I have talked about it, but enlighten the rest of us. Why did you go out and start a guild?
Okay, so at first it was just the Michigan Hypnotherapy Guild, and I named it that because association was taken. I couldn't get association, and that was, I thought, you know what, this is going to do everything. It's going to do, it's going to cover clients, it's going to cover magazine, it's going to cover the conference, it's going to be the parent of all those things. And as people ask me, can you join it? Can you join it? Can you join it? I said, well, no, it's not that kind of guild. And I'd explain it to them, and they would look at me like, I don't understand. And a few years obviously was going by, and I'm watching, and oh man, I don't want to like get up on my soapbox here, Shawn. I'm trying not to. I'm watching.
You're a guest on a podcast. This is your soapbox.
Yeah, I was beginning to see training in hypnosis, and it was okay. Here's the course. Here's the money. Here's your certificate. And boom, boom, boom. We're going to teach you hypnosis, and I'm kind of watching this go along. And it was like, and now that you've taken this, here's this course, and here's this course, and here's this course. Now you need to learn this and this and this, and keep giving us your money to learn more and get these cool certificates. And I began to think to myself, no. Here's what we have: the North American Hypnotherapy Guild. Hypnosis should be taught at a foundational level. If you do not understand what an induction is, if you not understand what a deepener is, or what an embedded suggestion is, or how to write a script, or how to do, if you don't have these foundational skills, what are you doing? You're paying for all these foundational skills separately. Training ethically and professionally should be: here's your certificate, here's your diploma. You've got it. And proving proficiency along the way, not perception of proficiency. If you are allowed to pass without ever proving that you know what you read, i.e., you took a quiz, you took a test, there was a didactic portion, there was psychomotor, you got all these things down. It's not enough to just sit online and have somebody read to you and do a PowerPoint and then say, okay, you guys are done. Thanks for the money. Here's your certificate. Go. No, there's a class. There's a quiz. There's a class. There's a quiz. There's a class. There's a video. There's psychodynamics. Hypnotize somebody. We're going to review this. You're going to know this before you leave this course or any course. And to create an area of collaboration and professionalism, and to elevate the profession, and at some point, I am still fighting here in Michigan to get hypnotherapy licensed. Meaning, even if it's a para license, I've been working in emergency medicine for a long time. Even if it's a limited license, so that we can begin to share in some of that revenue, be taken seriously as a profession, as instead of being an adjunct to psychology or an adjunct to this or an adjunct to that. Oh, it's a tool that the therapist uses. Hypnosis and hypnotherapy has been around so long that I'm surprised it's not its own specialty by now. Just the research I've done. And everyone's always saying, oh, hypnosis is mainstream. Hypnosis is mainstream. Hypnosis. Well, if it was mainstream, we would be licensed. You have to have a license to be a massage therapist. And I'm like, have to have a license to rub oil on someone? Hello? I'm not bitter. I may be bitter. Yeah. I'm not bitter. I may be bitter. And Jim and I used to talk about this. I mean, chiropractors at one point were thought of as quacks and witch doctors. And now they are a respected medical profession.
Was that quacks or cracks?
Quacks, as in duck. Quack, quack. So
no, Brian,
yeah,
we can't hear you.
Hi, Jay. Dr. Jody Solberg. And so.
And you have some agreement, but from Attila saying, yes, I agree. Our industry does need to be regulated. Yeah, and I agree. There needs to be, there needs to be a baseline of what. I'm fine with people training, but what's the baseline? It can't just be, like you said, Dan, a weekend warrior course where somebody they've already got your certificate pre-printed and they know they're going to give it to you Sunday afternoon at 5:00.
I have seen those, and it's like, okay, here's 4 days, and now you're a hypnotist. And I should say that I should thank Shawn, because when I was writing the textbook for this work that I'm doing, Shawn was collaborating with me on that. We were a team. I was sending him things. He goes, hey, listen, I don't want to hurt your feelings. First of all, let me say something positive. You did spell Garibnith correctly, so kudos on that. But I think we need to fix that word. So, and we worked together on that book. And it's not a 400 or 500 page book. I think it's like 200 pages. But it is the absolute foundational knowledge. And then once you get that foundation, that's when you want to pick your specialty. I want to do trauma hypnosis. I want to work in this area of hypnosis. So now you can take that training. And the other thing about having that foundation and proving proficiency, proving that you understand what you read and doing the work, in my opinion, I don't know about you guys, helps to alleviate imposter syndrome. It's not, well, I paid for the course and I got my certificate. It's like, I earned that certificate by doing the work. I earned that. I am a level 1 or what have you clinical hypnotherapist. And now I'm going to move on and get more training.
Yeah. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Fraser Penman, who is joining us from the UK. I'm not exactly sure whereabouts you are, Fraser, but I do know that Now You See Me Live is going. And I did see the video today when you received your pizza, which, of course, instead of having a whole bunch of toppings on it, was actually Fraser's face on the pizza, which was really kind of cool. So hopefully it tasted as good as you look. Let's put it that way.
I was going to say, yeah, that isn't. I didn't get pizza, but yeah. So
it's all
man
good.
has his own pizza. that he is that good of an entertainer that he was given his own pizza, not just named after him, but his likeness on it.
Exactly. And he says he's down actually in London right now. So yeah, no, from what I've seen, Fraser, you're knocking it out of the park. And for those of you that don't know, Fraser was also on Britain's Got Talent just prior to this, and so as with all things, opportunities abound.
Okay. So, I should give a shout out to Dr. Jody Solberg, who is
Yep.
also on the board for the North American Hypnotherapy Guild. I was able to talk her into that.
So, can I back up? I want to back up a little bit into
Mhm.
the chat, and just highlight the power of education. And it's one of the reasons that when I'm on stage, I never phrase anything as you're taking a test. It's an exercise. Hey, we're just gonna figure out who's who in the zoo type of thing, but it's never a test. And here's the reason why. Exams, tests, they have that negative connotation. Oh my God, it was so hard. People rarely associate the good feeling. Amanda, you passed. You did it.
Yes.
But it's one of those things in education that it's a very easy, low bar, standardized thing to do and give everybody the exact same test, which doesn't necessarily always work for all students. But one of the things that we have to make sure of is what we talked about. If we're going to regulate the industry, there has to be that solid baseline for everybody. These are the things you need to know as a hypnotist starting out. You know what? When you're a couple of years in, you should know these things. And you should be studying in between, point A and point B. I go back to some of my textbooks and whatnot on a semi regular basis, especially when I get a client who has something that's just kind of out of left field. It's like, okay, I've never seen this before. Let's see what the book says, and you have that reference right there. So, which is also kudos for making an actual textbook and not not a PDF or two that somebody could lose. If we're going to do this, let's actually have an actual book that we can reference.
Yeah, that was my thinking. Is like and online for the guild is an ebook format, because when I was taking a lot of my psychology courses, I would go on to Centreville, or I can't remember the name of it, but it was the education site for the college. And most of the textbooks were in that PDF format, so I could go through and read it. So I kind of did that. And you were talking about, on references, and I was just using this today. The handbook of medical and psychological hypnosis, helping the client. And I also had to get into this because I do this work from time to time. This is Mind Play, a guide for therapists to erotic hypnosis or sexual dysfunctions, because that was what the client has an issue with, is sexual dysfunctions. So I pulled out the textbooks and started going through it. And I know what people are thinking. Oh my God, Dan and sexual dysfunction. Those are two words I've never wanted to hear and never want to hear again. Attila says, teaching since 1996. I despise these $7 and
Udemy.
Udemy. Thank you. I couldn't. I don't have my glasses on. I'm like,
I got it.
Certification.
Yeah, and that's essentially it. Like, those sites started out with what I would think would be a noble cause. Let's provide education at a reasonable cost. But it's a very slippery slope and a very short distance between providing something that's reasonable cost and people undercutting to the point where, you can literally pick a certification and spend $49, and do it in a weekend type of thing.
Yeah, it is a slip. So that's the one thing you got to be careful of. And that's where I will say integrity and ethics comes into play. If you don't have it, you're gonna fall. You're just gonna start milling it out. And that is something I will say I've never done. I've just never milled it out.
Yeah.
Just because it's important to me. I will say the hardest test I ever took was pass or fail, and there was no in between. They dumped 400 gallons of fuel oil into the bilge. They looked at our class and said, "Put it out in your firefighters, fail, and your paint nippers." So that was the test. The end of damage control A school, 1989. Go get it. So, and we got it. That was it. It wasn't a thing of, oh man, I hope I get the right answer. It was like, it's really hot in here. So, hey, once you pass a test like that, somebody asking me a question is not a big deal.
Yeah. And speaking of Scott King, good to see you, Scott. The Mind Play is one of the best books to learn hypnosis from. You know what? There are so many really good ones, and I remember, and I've told this story a few times, but I had websites that kept me going from 91, 92 when I just hit university. It's like, oh wow, this is great, and then you get into a library that actually has books on real books on hypnosis, and there's Orman McGill's book. Nobody's touched it, and it's got a half-inch layer of dust on it. Like, this must be, one of the best, and so you start pulling these books. But that information really changed the direction that I was, that I thought hypnosis was. I was hoping to retire to that island with, a whole bunch of servants and lots of money in the bank. Find out that no, you still have to, get out there and actually interact with people. So, okay, so be it.
Yeah.
But having the book is still very much, it can be a very personal reference, because if it's your book, you're going to highlight it. You're going to have your notes in it. Hey, I tried this. It didn't work. Under this circumstance, so try it differently. All of that learning, all of the things that you accumulate for wisdom, all get connected to those books and to those reference materials that you have.
Yeah. Oh, here, yeah. You know what else I was looking at just the other day? I need to put these back on the bookshelf. They're just on the floor. I had to pull out the social psychology textbook. Oh, it is CENGAGE, Cengage. That was what I was going through. So I can't remember why. Social anxiety. I was looking at this for somebody that was dealing with social anxiety. So I had to, and this is a big, thick book. And as people say, you can't just hit me in the head with one of your big old books and expect me to change. Why don't we test that by having me hit you in the head with my big old book?
I don't think they realize just how thick some of those books are, and hardcover too.
Yeah, that is a hardcover.
I know. I had one hardcover textbook that I never should have bought, but did because the professor wrote it and we needed to buy it. And it was,
I hate those.
Yeah, it was used once, and it was all on educational technology. But back in that day, it was educational technology is, how to use the overhead projector and how to use the Gestetner machine. Like, it was still back that far. How to make sure you conserve copiers and whatnot. And it's just wild that that was the first textbook I burned.
Somewhere here in the house, I don't know where it is. I do have my Maslow's educational textbook.
Oh yeah, the good old
Yeah.
hierarchy of needs, eh?
Yes, somewhere in here I have that. And I just know that I had to read it, and once I read a book, it tends to stay learned. So yeah,
What did Maslow say? He that is a hammer tends to think of everything as a nail.
yeah. And I am the nail because I know this because Heather keeps hitting me and just pushing my big fat lazy butt uphill. Because I'm like, okay, yeah, fine. Yeah, we'll have a magazine. Okay, we'll have a conference. Okay, we'll incorporate. Okay, we'll have an LLC. How did I get here? I just wanted to sit in my
And
office.
speaking of the magazine, it's undergone a little bit of a rebrand. I have some copies back here, of course, as you can see.
Yeah, that was yeah. So, anyways, moving on.
Conveniently placed.
Yeah, we're gonna slide right back that and just say that it is Hypnosis Today magazine, and I'm actually working on the fall issue right now, and the fall issue is going to be dedicated to stage hypnosis. Yeah, the summer issue was the economics of hypnosis. The fall issue is going to be about um, stage hypnosis, and the winter issue I think is going to be about the future of clinical hypnotherapy. So, and of course, your traveling T-Rex tips will be in there.
Gotta have Frank's input. Yep.
Yeah.
So and you mentioned the podcast, so another natural segue in there. But the Monday report and the traveling hypnotist, I find two different functions for each of those. Tell us a little bit about the Monday morning report, which I missed yesterday. But
we are on hiatus right now until October. I was thinking to myself, you know what, I've got to really focus on the conference right now because I'm getting all those fine details done, and I'm working on the magazine. So I thought I'm going to take a hiatus, but the podcast used to be that the magazine or the podcast drove the magazine, but now the magazine drives the podcast. So it really is just a continuation of what's happening in the magazine, what's happening in the world of hypnosis, techniques, trainings, conferences going on, who's doing what, what's going on in the world of hypnosis and hypnotherapy, and just talking about that. The traveling hypnotist came about because for a while there, I don't know if you remember, there was a rumor that I was a holistic millionaire. Because he goes to Heart, he goes to this conference, and he goes to that, and he's flying here, and now he's flying there, and now he's going to be at this conference, and now he's doing that. He must have all these big bags of money. And so I thought, you know what? People kept asking me about all this travel. I said, I'm going to tell them. I could have actually named that podcast "Life in Zone 8." So, which is basically
so Shawn, are you guys able to hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I am.
I bumped something on the controls, and so I had to jump out and jump back in and make sure that it all reset properly.
Yeah, we saw that you were doing like this, and then there was this, and then I'm thinking,
yeah, I was like, I'm not doing.
Go.
Oh, nobody gets me to move like you do, Dan. At first, we thought it was Grant. But...
Attila says, I invite you all free to my next course online, Regression RHT, Zoom September 28th to October 2nd. So if you're interested in regression and RHT, by all means, definitely take advantage of that. You know what I tell you? If you want to drop the website there as well, we'll put that up on the podcast for people to jump in on, and you know, definitely take advantage of it. And you know what? The one thing that I can say about teachers in general, because I know a lot of teachers, surprisingly. Um, the ones that are really, really good are the ones that have learned that it's not about them, it's about how the student learns so that they get the biggest bang for the buck.
Yep.
And the teachers that design their lessons around, okay, if I'm a student, how would I learn this?
Sure.
You know, those are the teachers that are very successful in the classroom. Or, you know what? This is a really boring topic. I know it's a really boring topic. How would I change this to make it not boring? You know, and that might be something as simple as including some tech. You know, maybe we're going to do something with robots instead of, you know, 2 + 2 is 4. Well, that's great. But what happens if I take two robots and one of them moves 2 spaces and the other one moves 2 spaces? You know, boom. And now we've got something exciting to talk about.
Absolutely. Rock'em sock'em robots. If
There
one
you go.
punches one. Yeah. So, but
it's
you know what?
it's that simple switch, and
Yeah.
you know, hypnosis isn't meant to be static. It's very dynamic. You know, when you're working with a client, when you're on stage, whatever it is that you're doing, you need to be aware of what's going on and what comes next. If especially and how to direct where you know you want the attention to go, right?
Oh yeah, you're absolutely. Most of the stuff I do is dry and boring, so I've got to really game it up. There's a lot of humor. I've got to make this entertaining and fun because I'm doing presentations on the neurophysiological effects of human behavior within states of hypnosis. And that's like a 4-hour presentation I've done. I'm doing presentations on cognitive hypnotherapy. So, you know, you can't just, if I were to stand up there and say, you know, the amygdala fires at a rate of Bueller, Bueller. So, yeah.
Yeah, and
I would probably,
that's a reference that anybody who's around in you know Gen X or just a little bit after that would
yeah.
definitely get.
You can't stand up there and Ben Stein them, or Larry David them, or anything.
Yeah, most
Yeah,
people don't realize though that Ben Stein used to be an economics advisor
professor.
for
Yeah,
President Nixon, I believe it was.
yeah. So yeah, you've got to make it fun. You've got to make it engaging. You've got to make it unique. So as I'm watching the audience, as I'm teaching, you've got to watch for the guy whose eyes are glazing over. And right there, you've got to get a joke in there. You've got to make something funny. You've got to do something to get the energy in the room up.
Yep, break
So
state.
it becomes, yeah, you got to do something. And I am no stranger to making myself look ridiculous. Um, and I know this because Heather put the kibosh on the jet-powered pogo stick one year at the conference. I thought, you know, if something goes wrong, I could ride that baby to the rescue. But no, she's like, no. I should back up because I said something and then it got away from me. We were talking about reinvesting in the conference at nest egg. We took the nest egg that we had for the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference this year, and we reinvested that. The screens, the 100-inch screens and the big projectors that we had bought in for the conference years before weren't working in the venue that we have now. The rooms, they were just too big. So we reinvested. We bought 4 large screen TV monitors with the portable back stands that you can take and HDMI cables so that when the presenters come in, they're going to have those. They're going to have those new monitors there. And it's going to help with some of the light issues that you have in the room in hotels because they don't use the lights that they used to. they've gone to the incandescent. They don't dim. They're either on or off. So it becomes, because they're all trying to save money, same as we are. So we reinvested.
Are they the incandescent or are they LED? Because
Some are
LED
LED.
general won't dim.
Yeah. I just know that, they're either on or off now at most of your hotels.
Okay.
So we reinvested in that, and we also invested in gosh darn it, we bought something for the conference. We invested in marketing. Yeah. There's something else I bought that's going to be at the conference. Oh, yeah, I remember what it is, but you know what it is. You know what it is, Shawn. So we invested in those because they're fun. And I want to talk a minute because people have said this, and I want to get this out in the open. And I'm sorry we backed up here, Shawn. I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah.
No. We're promoting your conference, so any of the highlight stuff that you want to tell people, the floor is yours, man.
Yeah, I want to talk about the raffle prizes. Apparently, that's what we're well known for. I would prefer that we were well known for our great speakers, but okay, it's raffle prizes.
Drawings, Dan. Drawings. Raffle implies gambling.
Drawings, yes. The
door
reason,
prizes.
Yeah, door prizes. I love it. I have a license.
Door prizes over a door, though.
Yeah, I have a license. Calm down, Brian Bay. I mean, for crying out loud. All these legalities here. Well, here's my thinking. The reason we do it the way we do it is that the door prize for Brian Bay is something that we put out there that immediately makes an impact in your business. We have had people that walked away with the door prize.
I'll see and raise you a.
They've
see your dog and raise a Chewbacca.
Yeah. They've started podcasts because of that. I had one person tell me, he's like, I did not have a laptop to do presentations, and now I was like, well, I'll buy one, and maybe someday I can present at a conference. They want a laptop, and they immediately started doing presentations at conferences. They got a microphone. They started podcasting, or it helped them with their clients. I now have a really great microphone. My client can hear me so much better, because that is my thinking. You get the ticket. You receive the door prize, you take it home, it makes an immediate impact in your business. It is real, it is tangible. It is not, and I don't want to speak badly about anything, but it's not a thing where it's like, oh, well, I got 20% off this training, or I got 30% off this, or basically I was like, what, you got a coupon? I mean, if you even take that training. So,
yeah, Amanda is saying bring back the discussion panels, and Jody is saying definitely join us at the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference for the prizes 100%, and also for the ICANN method workshop, which is something new that you've introduced this year in the Michigan conference, right?
Yes. Okay. So, I'm going to address both those. First, let me finish on the prizes. So, just to say, that is why we do the prizes that we do. We don't ask for raffle donations. All right. The prize come from us, and we do that so that it's an immediate impact.
Yeah.
The discussion panels, we just didn't have anybody sign up for those this year. We had like one or two people that wanted to be on a discussion panel. So, you can't have a discussion panel with one or two people. So
is there a prize for like the most horrible dad joke? Asking for a friend, of course.
Well, you know what? Now
I just said I've never seen a door prize that has actually been a door.
Oh God! Imagine trying to get that through TSA.
Yeah. You know what? You know what? Just for Michael Brody, I might go on to the rainforest distributor there and see if I can't find a tiny little door just for him. So,
You know what? Go to if you've got a Lego store, they'll have doors.
yeah, there we go. The Lego
Oh.
store. So and the
Wait, hold
the
on.
micro-
Michael's going to be there in Michigan, and he's also a Michigan resident. Doesn't live too
He is.
terribly far away, so he's probably going to be driving. Hold my beer, Dan. I've got this.
Okay. So the micro certification workshops that we experimented with this year, like the ICANN workshop, and we specifically asked people that I respect and trust, like Dr. Solberg and Vinny and Grant. The reason we put that together was so that we could attempt to, one, make the conference better and more, for people coming, and two, to reduce the cost of their conference experience. Pre and post, you usually have that. So now I've got to get extra hotel rooms at the beginning or extra hotel rooms at the end. And now I've got this extra $500 cost or what have you at that, and so on and so forth. So we thought, let's see if this works. Putting that micro workshop within the main body of the conference, 4 hours, certification training, and see what happens, so that we can, one, give them a better experience, two, reduce the cost, and three, give the presenter an opportunity to cover some of their costs, and we wanted to do that. So at the end of this year, we will evaluate that and see if that was something that was workable and something that we should bring back, or it wasn't workable and we won't bring it back. But that was my thinking on that. There was a method to my madness. Not that there's anything wrong with pre or post, but that was the little hamster. My little hamster started running around on the wheel. I know most of the times the hamster on my brain wheel has a limp. So we thought, let's see what happens. As they say, I think the pilot of your plane brain is drunk at the helm. So there's splinters in the windmills of your minds, Eunice. But yeah.
I you know what? I get those references.
Exactly.
Scott did send you a link for a door, and I will forward it to you, Dan, afterwards. I think this is even better than Lego, and I don't say because I like
Awesome.
Lego, so that's
Yeah.
even better.
So yeah,
the conference, of course, is coming up. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. September 11th through the 13th. There's still time to get your tickets. We were able to get the hotel to open up a few more rooms, because we got some people that called me and said, "Oh my goodness, I didn't get my room. Can I get my room, please?" So I said, well, let me get over to the hotel and see if they'll open up some more rooms. Now, the most important thing that I want to say about the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference coming up very shortly, September 11th to the 13th, is that at the end of the conference will be the ceremonial passing of the conference scepter, and it shall be all PHS all the time.
which is where I was going to go with that. Was yes, this is the conference.
One, 2, 3, not it.
And
Grant's not here. I nominate him.
I have no problem carrying a scepter. That's fine. I have some bippity boppity boo. But it's also
somebody flag that so we can turn that into just a soundbite by itself. That's going to make it into an introduction at PHS.
What, that I have some bippity boppity boo? Of course I do.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I'm a tech guy. Of course I have bippity boppity boo. It's also called percussive maintenance.
Yes.
and the Fonzarelli fix.
Yeah,
Hey.
and you should be happy that you have the bippity boppity boo, because it is that very bippity boppity boo that makes PHS stand out as the only hybrid conference out there. Because guess what? I don't have that kind of bippity boppity boo. Michigan, we're not going to be hybriding anytime soon.
Not
ever.
yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna go with, because you're now bookending the conferences, but the kickoff to the North American Hypnosis Conference season.
Yes.
Michigan comes up first in September, and the season rolls all the way through. I know conferences are jockeying around and moving things around, but PHS is in January, and then there really isn't too much until you get into Heartland and whatnot later on in March, April, whatever that time frame is. But when we look at the school year, the beginning of the school year is in September, and the first conference in September happens to be
Shawn,
the Michigan
Shawn,
International Hypnosis Conference.
Shawn, you're gonna have to run about the last 15 seconds back over again.
Yeah,
you were auditorily encrypted, and we do not have the key on the other end.
I'm not. Well, according to this, I've got good bandwidth going here, but no. What I was going to say was this: that despite how conferences work, when we look at the year, really, many people regard September as kind of the beginning of the year, because that's when school starts, right? We send kids off to school and so on and so forth. And so what happens is, when you look at the calendar, well, guess what? The first conference in September is the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference, followed very closely by the Canadian Hypnosis Conference in October. So that's kind of the next conference that's in line. And then, of course, we go all the way into January and the Performing Hypnosis Summit.
Yeah, so that winter-fall conference season is what we're concentrating on here, and it's like, hey, start in Michigan, the conversation continues in Toronto, and then you finish strong at PHS in January in Las Vegas. So 3 cities, 3 great events. It's a conference journey, is really it is. You're staying connected throughout the season, and it is a great way of collaboration, which is, again, one of the things that we wanted. And I will say this, that I will say that collaboration over competition was not my invention.
Well, that was your invention right there. Inventation.
Yes. Inventation. You have bippity boppity boo, and I have inventation. We'll be independent together.
Dan took anti-plagiarism stuff and used your own words, quite literally.
Yeah. The one and only great Jim Kellner. We talk about that all the time. Collaboration over competition. Collaboration happens at the top. Competition happens at the bottom. And I will say that that I was not initially a collaborator. When I would go to a hypnosis conference, like I would go to HTL, I would disappear, because I would go out there with my Firemind guys, doing stage hypnosis and all that stuff, and they would go with me. So I would go do the presentation, hang out at the conference, but most of the time I was just out in Vegas. I'm just out there. You know what I mean? I didn't really make any connections. And if I had made the connections, if I had the connections that I have now, then I would be further ahead now, per se. So it's those connections that are important. But I didn't know that then, because I was having too much fun hanging out with my Firemind guys.
Yeah. Scott says that I know the bippity boppity boo induction. I was taught hypnosis by my fairy godmother.
Yes.
Michael says, you know what? If I'm not translating properly, then I should go to a doctor to get rid of the bippity boppity boo. And
yes.
Amanda said she heard me just fine. So
Excellent.
Okay,
See,
I'm going to blame my Starlink connection for half of this then.
Yeah. Shawn learned his bippity boppity boo from a traveling gypsy under the light of a full moon.
Yeah.
It was passed on to me by a 3-letter organization. That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly. But yeah, so, and where were we? Oh man, we were talking about the conference.
Talking about the circuit, completely going from Michigan to Toronto to Las Vegas.
Yes. And I think coming up here in 27, that's going to be even more so. The collaboration, I hope, just continues to grow between all of us, working together and just being able to create a really great season. Because I do like going to Toronto. Barb Davis puts on a really great conference out there in Canada. So lovely. And of course, heading out to PHS, getting a chance to head out there and see those guys and hit the M&M store, all important. So, and then Fremont Street. Who doesn't love Fremont Street? Yeah, I get a coffee cup every year. I go to PHS. I will go to Fremont Street. I go to one of the little souvenir shops. I get a Las Vegas coffee cup. That's my thing. I bring it home. That is my little tradition. You guys are out there doing street hypnosis. I'm finding a coffee cup.
Well, and you bring up a good point, and maybe this is one that you want to talk about it on the traveling hypnotist. But when you have those types of things, and you go to a conference, it's an extra incentive for you to get there. It's an extra. I'm here. I got to get my cup. I got to get I have to get my visit in at the M&M store. I got to whatever it is, whatever that little tradition is. It's just another way that you can attach good feelings and memories to a conference. That we all know that conferences, we come away with all kinds of new ideas and learning and so on and so forth. And sometimes it feels like you've been drinking out of the end of the fire hose and whacked over the head with a couple of textbooks. But do something for yourself that isn't even related to the conference.
And that's what we do is we build time in for people to do that. There's activities, there are extracurricular stuff, but we also if you don't want to go see a show and you want to go see a different one that's far more expensive, or I think that was a couple years back, Jason O'Callaghan was like, I've got to go see what this Target and Walmart stuff's about in America. But then he took a helicopter ride and was like, yeah, we flew over the Grand Canyon today. Oh, okay, cool. That's why we didn't see you. So it's, we still want people to participate, but go venture out, or what Grant calls, going for a mooch. Apparently that's just a walk or a wander. And go explore. Go get your fun pictures and photos and everything. Definitely be safe and responsible when you're doing it. There is safety in numbers. But we want you to have a good time. And that's why we encourage people to come in a few days earlier, adjust to the time zone. Don't feel like it's a sprint to get to the conference, go through the conference, and a sprint to get home, because you're just going to be more exhausted. But take the time to relax a little bit.
Oh, yeah. And we built that into this year's Michigan. Brian Potts, great guy, who came to the very first conference there. We always laugh. There, the very first conference we had here in Michigan was in Treetops Resort, Gaylord, October. We always say there was 27 of us, and we were in the middle of the woods. But he came to the very first one. And the whole time at the conference, I'm calling him, wasn't Brian, I was calling him Byron. Because I saw the BY, and I went Byron in my mind. So he kind of got a hold of me, and they have redesigned the one street down there right outside the hotel, and made it an amazing walkway. It is just this massive, it's a wonderful tourist area now. So what we have is the Hi Hello outing, so that people can go out that first night that they're there. He's going to be the guide. Get out there, visit, check it out. and get away and have that moment. We extended the lunch
Hypnosis
on Saturday.
Fellowship.
Yes, the Fellowship of Hypnosis, and companions. Anyways, we also have extended that lunch on Saturday to be the networking lunch, and we're going to have signs up in the lunchroom for sections like, hey, if you want to talk about this, these tables. If you want to talk about that, these tables. You want to talk about this, these tables. So, and that's going to be an hour and a half so that people have more time on that Saturday to get to know each other and talk about collaboration and training and all these things so that they can get away and do that, because I think it's fun. I think it's important. I think you guys are going to have to pull me out of the M&M store.
Just hopefully not kicking and screaming and crying, curled up in the fetal position like last time.
Yeah, I know, right?
Those diabetic tremors just.
So, listen. So I thought the M&M bin was a ballroom. What? It was a perfectly honest mistake. I mean,
if Dan wants to strip down naked, play Scrooge McDucks in a bowl full of M&Ms, who are we to judge?
Yeah. I mean, sure, Shawn was yelling, it's not a ball pit. It's not a ball pit. The kids are screaming.
Yeah.
Dan, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah, I got to fix my chair here, guys. Sorry. Something just happened. There we go. Not sure what that was, but I just sunk down there. I got like, where'd you go? But yeah, so we built those things in this year, and we're going to continue to do that in 27 and 28 because I've been told that apparently I have to have a 27 conference. Fine. That was the thing that we invested in this year. In years past, we set the conference up a little bit different this year. So we will have a main stage there at the conference this year. We have not typically had a main stage at the conference, but we will have one this year. So it's going to be new. We're kind of growing up as a conference. I guess I can say so, but not too grown up, you know, as evidenced.
For someone who's contemplating being a first timer, take us through the conference itself. How many stages, how many rooms or tracks, as some people?
We don't do tracks just because that actually belongs to another conference. But we do have.
However, people may make associations. Like PHS, we have 2 rooms, 2 speakers going at the same time. In general,
yeah, we're going to have 2 to 3 rooms going, and we have presentations ranging from stage hypnosis, street hypnosis, clinical hypnosis, business, and just a wide variety of things that an individual needs. So the first morning, obviously, we have the welcome from. Bye, Amanda.
Amanda, we'll see you next time. Hopefully sooner than later.
See you in September. We have the welcome from us, myself and Heather, and then we have the keynote speaker, who is Joni Johnston-Knighty this year. Amazing keynote speaker. She was she went out, was with the U.S. swim team in Paris, helping them bring home the bling. That's what she does. So she's our keynote speaker. And then, of course, after that, we just break out into the sessions. And we have one area that's called the Hypnosis Corners. That's where people can go sit and talk with each other right around the corner there. We've got some really great vendors coming in this year. And then the next day, that Saturday, we have more sessions. We have the networking lunch. We have the awards banquet. We have breakfast all 3 days for you. There's no bangers and mash, and I want to thank Grant Saunders for telling me what a banger was. I could have lived the rest of my life without knowing what a banger was, Grant.
Go find yourself a Filipino friend and ask him about balut.
I don't want to know about balut. I just want to know about the banger. So yeah. And that's one of the things we do. We want to help people by keeping down the costs. So yeah, breakfast is included in the price of the ticket. There is no extra price for breakfast or lunch. You pay one price for your ticket, you get breakfast, you get lunch, you get the awards dinner. Jason Simmons is coming out there to do the stage hypnosis show. Really great of him. And just a lot of great stuff going on. And then on Sunday morning, Michael Brody will be the closing keynote speaker. So we're looking forward to that. But prior to the closing keynote speaker, just for you, Grant. Anyways. And then, of course, I will be looking forward to PHS. I will be counting the days until I'm at the Gold Coast Hotel, having a proper cup of coffee, and just watching Shawn's eye twitch.
But after your 40-something hour drive?
So, yeah, you know what? It's 24, actually. I Googled it.
It's where?
24.
Are you going to try to do 12 and 12 or?
You are talking to a fire medic. You know, between myself and my cameraman, we will bust that out. That is just a vent transfer, my friend, for us. Okay?
We're driving straight through. We can't see when we get there, but we're driving straight through.
We're going to Florida. That drive back.
No, but I mean, in all seriousness, give yourself time. I don't know what the dumb stuff is going to be. You know, going through, Colorado and stuff like that, especially mountain passes and snow and unpredictability. But
we've got the route mapped out. So we'll be good. I got the Jeep. It's got 4-wheel drive, traction control. We've got the trailer. We're bringing all kinds of cool stuff.
The trailer has 0-wheel drive. The trailer just goes, "Help! I'm in danger."
What are you doing? How can you do this to me, Stimpy? What are you doing? I wanted to drive to the store, Ren. But yeah. Anyways,
Ren and Stimpy. Well, there's a cartoon I haven't watched for a while.
Oh yeah. Talk about that. I remember at the Navy Exchange, they had the Ren and Stimpy dolls. You pulled the string and it talked. The Ren doll was not there very long. It was like in the middle of the Bible Belt. And when you pull it, it would be like, "You are my true friend, Stimpy." Then you would pull it and you would be like, "You fat bloated sack of protoplasm." Off the shelves when he was off the shelves.
Yeah.
But that's, that's human behavior. What are you going to do? And then getting back traveling hypnotist real, because I see we're coming up on time. Again, that was just started because people asked me, "How do you travel to all these conferences, Dan?" So I said, "You know what? I'll show you. I'm not spending millions of dollars. Never forget, Dan, that Google time estimate is the time to beat." I like it, Scott.
Traveling tips from Scott King down in Texas. Scott, we hope you and the family are doing well.
But yeah. So I said, "You know what? I'll show you guys. I'll show you what I'm doing." And of course, I wrote the guide and talked about conference arrival and how I get there. And it is a little counterintuitive, but it works. It works for people. Most people buy the ticket really fast at a conference. "Oh, I'm excited. I'm going to buy this ticket." Then 3 or 4 months go by and they haven't got a hotel room. They haven't got a flight. They haven't done parking. They haven't done that, and then they can't go because none of the other stuff done.
Yeah.
So it's not just buying a conference ticket; it is looking at, and travel is not a penalty. Travel is an investment in yourself. It is an investment in your professional self. And you have to look at it like that. You can't say, well, the conference is $227 to go to PHS, but it's going to cost me $600 to get there. No, it's not going to cost you. It is, I'm investing this $700 into myself, and I'm going to come away with a return on investment. That's the thinking on that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for Michigan. It's the same thing for Canada. Not so much for you, Brian. Don't know what you're doing. You can't even tell if Beck's standing up. We don't know.
Right.
He was just like, dude, why is she sitting down? I'm like, dude, she's standing up.
Yeah.
I don't understand, Brian Bay. Picking on poor little Becky.
Yeah, I think we established that I'm actually taller than somebody, so. But anyway, yeah, no, we're I don't know about you guys, but and it kind of sounds like Dan's a little excited for PHS, but I'm reviewing the schedule. Brian and I've been working on things behind the scenes to make sure that we've got all the presenters and titles and what they're presenting on and so on and so forth. I think this is year 5. This will be year 5 for PHS as well. It's starting to come into its own. We're starting to turn that corner of, hey, just like Michigan, we're growing up, and last year we might have been a teeny bopper. Now we're kind of maybe early 20s. So, 21, because you have to be to do anything in Vegas. So we'll say we're 21.
21 is good.
Right.
I'm already looking at 27 for Michigan. I'm already making some preliminary planning for that. So that's what you do, though. You know what I mean?
Once you get into a groove, it is, and one of the things that we started at PHS that I know was helpful between the three of us was just a little bit of a journal. This happened. What are we going to do about this next year? That happened. What are we going to do about it next year? That didn't happen the way that we thought it was going to happen. Okay, how do we, tweak it so that it does? All of those pieces. It's all gathering that knowledge and then figuring out the better solution, and that's how you make a conference better. It's Dan will have one eye on what's going on, and the other eye will be exactly as it is right now, kind of cocked, thinking, okay, I can do this better next year.
Heather writes down all the notes. I come back every year from each conference with almost a notebook of things that she's like, okay, this wasn't and this was, but that didn't, and we need to do, and then data. And then, she looks at me and goes, okay, implement.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you should do, Shawn. Take the notebook, get all of the notes, just turn to Grant and go, implement.
I have three words for that. Make it so.
Make it so. Exactly. Number 1, make it so. The very texture of the conference. Because you don't want to be that guy. Be like, PHS didn't come to fruition. We've got to make it better. You got to do a man. You got to be a man to do the Shatner shake. That's all I want to say.
I think that's a lot of Grant about Sunday evening. I'm ready to go home. I just in metric.
I will say this.
For the love of God, I've only got 3 more days.
Yeah. I think you got a kick out of this because I told you that, what I do is I'll be driving through Canada, and everything there is kilometers. So I'm used to doing 50, 60, 70 miles an hour if I'm going, and it's okay, 30 kilometers an hour. So to just take the drive for me as I'm going through Canada. It's not kilometers; it's kilocams. Everything is kilocams away. So,
Yeah. Okay. Good thing we can translate Klingon too.
exactly. I'm only 40 kilocams away. So, because I mean, you do here in the States, it's like, man, you stop your car for 3 reasons. 1, you're out of gas. 2, you have a flat tire. 3, you hit a wall. In Canada, it's just like, oh my God, I can't. Okay, how do I drive this slow?
Right.
I was thinking to myself, it's like, no wonder they never get anywhere.
We just
But
have
then
a
again-
few more. We just have a few more potential obstacles.
Yeah, but then again, you don't hear of, you're not driving down the Canadian road and you don't see like 5 vehicles in the ditches.
Right.
Well, that only happens during a big snowstorm. Then
Yeah.
you can watch Highway 1 right through Alberta. I think those guys think that their 4-wheel drives and everything will save them. They don't.
Yeah.
Ice is ice. It'll take you off the road if you're not careful with it. So,
4-wheel drive is just Latin for stucker. Like, you thought you were stuck, now you're stuck.
I'm gonna have to talk to the folks at Gold Coast, because with Dunkin' Donuts going in where the Subway and the coffee shop used to be, I don't know that Dunkin' does a latte or a coconut latte or whatever Grant gets. So the closest Starbucks is on the backside of the Rio. I'm like, can we get a golf cart to just run out the back by the pool and around the parking lot and run across the street?
I think I have the proper latte issues solved. I ordered something yesterday for that I will be bringing to PHS that may solve the proper latte issue.
You're bringing a Keurig, aren't you?
No, I'm not bringing a Keurig, but it was something that may solve the proper latte issue. Although, right in Greek town, Grant, I think it likes this. There is a coffee shop that serves Greek coffee, and it is amazing. So, it is a wonderful place to go get coffee, and I will just say that. So I think that's about all I've got, guys. Unless you have any questions.
Nope, I'm good here. We already know the answer to the friend or frenemy question because we talked about it right off the hops. For those of you that missed it, pineapple does not belong on pizza.
At all.
Right.
At all, ever.
No. See, wisdom is knowing that pineapple, or knowledge is knowing that pineapple is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing it doesn't belong on a pizza.
Or other
I'm
places.
waiting for Scott to comment. And we'll say hey to Steve and some of the people that are joining us here on TikTok. This is going to be a great conference season. There's no question.
Yes.
Good luck with the conference in September, Michigan International Hypnosis Conference. And we'll translate that and keep the momentum going through Toronto and see everybody that is coming out to Las Vegas in January, where it's not minus 52 like it was this year when I left Saskatchewan.
Sean's like, positive temperatures at last, yay!
Steve says pineapple does go on pizza. Just ask Jim. No, it doesn't, Steve. If I ask Jim that question, I'll be joining him on the other side. It's all good.
The only people that put pineapple pizza, that's a doctor. It's like a Bond villain. What? Come on.
Yeah.
Well, it was invented in Ontario, so actually not too far away from some guy named Richard Cole. So I know. What can I say?
Yeah. Before we go, I would like to apologize if anybody got like if I got up on my soapbox and got a little vocal there, so I'll apologize now for that.
It's all good. Yeah, so lots of good things happening. Of course, the conference we just finished talking about, the North American Hypnotherapy Guild. The educational materials that have been developed, the magazine, the podcast. It's like you're busy, Dan.
I spend a lot of time in this office. A lot of time.
Turn the camera around and make sure there's bars not on the other side where we can't see.
Scott
pointing a rifle at you.
Scott says, no comment. It's all
guys,
good.
I have a yellow lab that is thoroughly reminding me that it is past his dinner time.
Yeah.
That somebody is hungry and wants to go play ball. So
all right. Sounds good.
I
Steve says that's why you get pineapple and Canadian bacon. No, that still doesn't work. You could mix it, off of pizza, but not on pizza. All right, so this is the end of our first episode of season 6. Thank you, Dan, for spending some time with us. We know that right before a conference, it gets busy, and lots of little things, details that need to be taken care of to make everything flow smoothly. So we really do appreciate the time here with us. And I actually got to say, this is actually one of our best attended shows. I've got 5 people in TikTok, and we've had up to 9 people in live here as well. So that's already like 50% better. So yeah.
And then next time, our next guest, we've got a special one that's going to be a presenter at Performing Hypnosis Summit that'll tease his presentations, and I think Dan can say a couple of good things. Even he was January years old when he learned a couple things about Delta Airlines. But
that's all we're going to say about that. Tune in next time.
No, not that they called you and said, "Hey, we're canceling flights." I'm talking about the other thing that you learned that was really cool.
And sometimes you're very funny, and there's not.
It's all good. All right, we will end it off here, folks. Again, Michigan International Hypnosis Conference is September the 11th to the 13th, and that will carry on through the conference season into the Canadian Hypnosis Conference, and then on to the Performing Hypnosis Summit in January. So until we meet again in a couple of weeks, as always, take care, stay well, and be awesome. Have a good night, everybody.
Stay free, guys.